Hello, my name is Kristen Stubbs. As the title suggests, I am significantly hearing impaired. Before this video begins, I did want to mention that this video is mostly for those who can hear normally. I will also not be having any graphics on this video, as I feel like it would significantly downplay what I'm trying to say. I would recommend listening to this while you're doing something else. Thank you. I had to have 8 ear surgeries in my entire life, and I'm not even 21 yet. So, my first 3 were because I had water behind my eardrum, which really downsizes how much you can actually hear by quite a bit. I had to have these things called tubes. Tubes basically just remove water stuck behind the eardrum. I had to have 3 of them. Most people only get 1 or 2. I also had to have another surgery to remove one that was stuck in my ear. The problem with tubes is that they can cause perforations to your eardrum. Like I said, most people only get 1 or 2. I had to have 3. So I had holes in my eardrum afterwards. I had to have those perforations patched up on my right ear first, then my left. On my right ear, my first surgery failed to patch it. I had to have another one just to fix it again. On my left ear, my first one failed. My second one also failed. I had a bunch of liquid coming out when I realized it failed, in I believe late 2018. It might have been 2017. I can't remember. I'm sorry. And so I had to have a third one. It did get passed eventually. But they did discover that it has water behind the eardrum still. So I came full circle, which has been really demoralizing. Some people might question, what do the ears do? Ears can change the way that people talk because they have to hear, and the way you hear determines how you talk. I have some lisps, and I can't pronounce the TH sounds that well because I can't hear them that great. So my mouth just tries to replicate what I can hear, which is not correct. I also don't have a great sense of balance because ears control the balance in the human body. Not all of it, but they do contribute a significant amount. This has also led me to become very motion sick. I cannot be in the front seat of a car, even on the passenger side, because of my ears. I am unable to drive, and it'll be like that for the rest of my life. Being motion sick can cause a lot of other problems, like when I'm playing games, such as Overcooked 2, because there are some parts of that where it gets motiony, and it makes me physically puke. Now, I had to have some hearing aid for my left ear. I recently attained them. The problem with obtaining hearing aids is that the doctor said directly he could not provide them himself or give out a recommendation. Otherwise, they will charge more, and that insurance might not be able to cover it. This shows what kind of society we live in. I live in the United States personally, so it might be different in other places, such as the UK or Canada. But this is my life here in the United States. I also had been told that my hearing got worse after the surgery. It used to be 35 and 90 on my right ear. Like I mentioned, it is 35 on my left ear, 85 on my right ear. My hearing got worse. And now I had this thing called tinnitus. Tinnitus basically just can be a static noise in your ears. I had it since I was young, but it wasn't that bad, and I really never noticed it. But it got worse after my last ear surgery. I hear static almost constantly in my left ear nowadays, and I can hear it some in my right ear, and sometimes it'll be both. Hearing aids do help with that quite a lot. However, they are not perfect. On the difference between my regular ears and my hearing aid for my left ear is huge. I never realized what it was like beforehand because I did not have that experience. That was my normal. A lot of people don't see the fact that people who are hearing impaired are hearing impaired. There's no physical signs. And people don't particularly know very well on how to deal with that. Did he talk louder? Did they adjust to a person's better ear if they have one? Did he use sign language? There is no right or wrong solution. The way that people sometimes treat me is that they'll think I'm lesser. I had doctors who told me that I couldn't hear them, despite the fact that I could, which can really be heartbreaking. Honestly can't believe I never realized how much I could not hear before. I can hear stuff like bass and music now. This was my normal. Normal is not exactly a thing experienced by a group, like most people will say it is. Normalcy is the individual's experience that has been consistent. And when people talk to people who are hearing impaired, they don't always realize and they might get mad or upset because they're not used to people outside of their range of normal. And normal can be hard to describe to someone else as people have individual lives and different experiences. I was half deaf right before the COVID-19 pandemic beginning, and it did last until like a week into the start of the pandemic. And I had a substitute teacher who would yell into my ear trying to get me to hear when I couldn't hear him at all. And it kept on getting louder and louder, and I couldn't hear a thing. And this happened on my right ear, which is my better ear. Having hearing problems as well can make me more prone to stuff like ear infections. I get ear infections more often than most people should, and they're not fun. Yeah. I make this video not as a point of people trying to sympathize with me, but to make people more aware that these things exist. I hope someday that we can live in a world where people can understand this better. It might take a while though. But thank you. Until next time.